The English writer and philosopher Aldous Huxley offered a bit of wisdom that's been haunting me of late. He wrote, "If most of us remain ignorant of ourselves, it is because self-knowledge is painful and we prefer the pleasures of illusion." Shattering. There's so many ways we can and have captured the past 6 weeks. But this word keeps returning for me. Shattering. The sense of safety, the sense of identity, the sense of understanding, the sense of allyship and humanity and clarity, the sense of what it means to be Jewish in 2023. Many are already seeing this as a time of irreversible changes to the modern Jewish American psyche. The painful realization of the illusions of social acceptance, the wishful belief that the moral arc of the universe bends towards justice for everyone, the sense that fragility and fear need never be the domains of Jews again. In a world in which one is labeled as either oppressed or oppressor, many in the Jewish community feel bewildered by the equation that the underdog is always the most moral, and that Jewishness could be associated as the moniker of power and privilege and oppression, to the point that terrorism and murder could be justified or seen as liberation. Even amidst this nascent ceasefire and return of hostages, it feels like a bizarre night has descended, and much of what felt so clear is cast in shadow and doubt. And so I'll go back to Huxley's words, that some of us wish we could return to the comfort of illusions, but instead we're cast into a new night. This week we encounter the patriarch Jacob, and from his own fractured family, he lets his own fear and feelings of injustice inspire him to lie, to deceive, to cheat brother and father out of birthright and blessing. And witnessing the aftermath in his family, Jacob decides that he would flee from it all. We can imagine his own shock and horror as he wanders the wilderness alone and afraid. And we read in the text that with nothing but stones at his feet, a subtle hint and a symbol of how low he has come, we are given the image of Jacob using something as mundane as a rock as a pillow, having nothing more comfortable at his disposal. And with that stone beneath his head, he falls asleep as the world descends into darkness. And there in the darkness, with his life upended, Jacob dreams. He sees a ladder rising from the earth up to the heavens, and upon it angels are ascending and descending. And God speaks to Jacob and reminds him, "You, Jacob, are not alone. As I was with your ancestors, so am I with you." And Jacob awakes from his dream and declares, "I didn't even know to look here. God was in this place all along, and I did not know it." Even in the darkness, even in the barrenness of this moment, even with my head and my heart caught between a rock and the weight of bewilderment, God is with me. And so Jacob takes the stones, and he actually raises there a monument, a reminder, and he calls the place Beit El, the house of God, and the place where one day the temple would be built. And it's a beautiful, powerful image. How even in the darkness, even the lowliest of the low, at the lowest point in his life, abandoned in the wilderness, that even for him, God is ever present, and that even Jacob had the capacity to create the most holy. But there is much more to unpack in this story. Much more beneath that simple story, and perhaps it's the very message that can hold some of us this Shabbat. For the spot on which Jacob sleeps has an older name, a ripple of trauma from past generations. The place's name is Moriah, Mount Moriah, the place where Jacob's grandfather nearly slaughtered his father. And according to some rabbinic traditions, where such sacrifice actually took place. Mount Moriah, the place of covenant being tested, of humanity being challenged. And Jacob, seemingly unaware of the terror of such a place, awakens to it but comes to see that it can be and is more than just a place of terror. And he is forever changed by this realization. Our early sages actually imagine Jacob to be the one who invented Mariv, the one who invented the evening prayer service, the nighttime prayer service. That from the very beginning of time, no other human being had dared to be able to aspire and hope once the sun had set. For fear kept such a prison on the hearts of humanity that Jacob was the first to dare to do so, inspired by this night from the place of lowliness, to take a rock as a pillow and imagine the channel from earth to the heavens. That he was somehow able to do what no one else before had been able to do, to find sanctity, even and especially there, and become a conduit of God in the shadow. But our early sages continue this imagination even further, noting that in his dream the angels are going up and down the ladder, but the text never explains towards what are they ascending and towards what are they descending. What would motivate them to move in both directions? And in multiple midrashim, in multiple rabbinic imaginations across 5 different centuries, we learn that in the heavens, Jacob's own face was inscribed on the throne of glory in the heavens. That the angels on earth were ascending to see Jacob's face above, and the angels in heaven were descending to see Jacob's face asleep on the stone below. And so powerful was this image, to imagine Jacob dwelling in both places at once, and the angels awed and mystified that the lowest and the highest could be connected, that they sought to journey and connect the two. And this captured the minds of many, and actually brought its way into Jewish art. And I want to show you an illuminated manuscript. This is an illustration of this from a Haggadah found in Spain in the 14th century, where we see that Jacob's same face there on the stone is the same face cast into the heavens. The angels somehow wishing to find how heaven and earth may meet. What's the meaning of this? In the lowest point of his life, with so much having come apart, Jacob witnesses what then comes together for him. God is with him, and the sanctity of his own soul also dwells in the heights of the heavens. So much so that the angels are drawn to witness his visage, to see that he is not complete in the heavens, nor is he complete in the earth. The act of the angel is to descend, to see the holiness that rests even in the bare rock and scattered stone, even in the husk of a failing that is humanity. And the act of an angel is also to ascend, to glimpse the sanctity of each soul inscribed on the throne of glory, to see the divinity that inspires us to claim our own divinity, to return to the place where the worst has been done and reconsecrate it as a house of God, a place worthy of gathering and elevating intention. I think back on these 6 weeks, the thousands upon thousands of lives shattered, the horror and the inhumanity, the rupture of trust and hope, the feelings of fragility, the shadow that seems to shroud every space. And I think of Jacob doing what no one had done before, choosing to step into the darkness and be willing to see that hope could be raised there, feeling the lowliness of the stone beneath his cheek and God's gift to remind him that he is not alone, to see the movements of angels reminding him and us that his face, our face, also belongs in the heavens, that there is worthiness in me, in us, in each person, such that angels aspire to reach us, not only up on high, but right here wherever we may be. And if we were to believe this, to believe in the possibility and potential, perhaps we claim the spiritual power of our nighttime prayer and Jacob's namesake, and from the place of horror, come to reconsecrate hope. What does it mean to imagine our face inscribed on the throne of glory? And what does it mean to only be able to realize that when we've been willing to step into the wilderness, to step into the shadow, to place our face on the stone-cold reality of life, be willing to let the illusions go so we can dream of what is real and true. This is why we gather. This is why the evening prayer is so important. This is why, as we awaken to what goes bump in the night, we also harness the power of what it is to sing hope into being. As it was for Jacob, may it be for us. As we lay our head to sleep tonight, may we see the way in which the heavens and the earth may meet. And in that realization, may we awaken to the future we create, a namesake that we shape, and the belief and reminder that God is with us, that we are not alone, and will be with us in the journey ahead.